Okay, how's it going? This is gonna be a cool video. We actually just made a trip up to New York, and we were invited to a really interesting event that was going on in the city, and driving down there is always fun. The event was called More Gardens and Action Permaculture Tour, and it was at the Smiling Hogshead Ranch in Queens, New York. And it's actually run by this man named Gill. And back in spring, I actually did a video of him and the land that he's squatting on. He's doing some really interesting things like bio-remediation and holding events there, which brings communities together. The things that are going on out there are really amazing. There's a large group of people who are doing really good things. So I had the opportunity of hanging out and talking with some very interesting, like-minded people, and got a tour of the ranch itself by Gill. So come along and see the amazing things that's happening in the big city of New York.
They were kind of okay with what we were doing, and they have nothing to do with the property anyway. So about a year and a half after we started doing this, the MTA got in touch with me and they wanted to know what we were doing, and I told them what we were doing. We're cleaning up the property, we're taking care of your land for you. We are stewards. And they didn't thank me like I expected them to. They actually gave me a hard time for a few minutes. We went back and forth, and then I told him that we knew that they wouldn't give us permission to do this if we had asked for it. And now I was in the uncomfortable situation of asking for his forgiveness. And he actually granted that forgiveness, and he sent over an agreement. He said, y'all can do this, but you have to do it legally. We have to get you to sign these forms. And we took the forms and we looked them over, and we really didn't want to sign them. So we just kind of sat on them for a little while, and we opened it up. We started a Facebook group, and we started telling people in Crop Mob NYC and the permaculture community about our spot. And people started coming from far and wide. This is a very ad hoc community. There is no front stoop across the street from this garden. Nobody takes ownership of this place. People come and pick up their property here and throw their trash here. People go to work over there and leave their coffee cup here. Nobody really cares about this spot, or nobody did care about this spot, but now all of you are here. And any other given weekend during the growing season, there's a whole nother group of people that are here. And it's a really beautiful group of people every single time. We hope to expand far beyond that. We'd love to have a big shipping container right here on these railroad tracks that was fitted out to repair bikes. We would love to build a stage in the back over there. I'm interested in building a water purification train that cleans water, grows algae, grows reeds and marshland grasses that insects can eat on, and we can have some crickets for lunch. And then that water will be purified and we can grow some fish, and then we can circulate it and have greenhouses. So there's lots of great things that we can do with what everyone calls waste stormwater coming off of the elevated expressway, waste food from the kitchens all around the city. We're building compost, we're building soil here, but really we're connecting people. This is that ad hoc community that comes together to make this place a destination. Is the same people that are going back to their neighborhoods and saying, hey, that was a great idea. Look at that vacant lot next to my place. Who around here wants to help me out? So there's lots of things happening. This was actually the 25th garden in New York City that became legitimized with the help of an organization called 596 Acres. That organization started around the same time we did in 2011. I didn't have all the resources that organization is giving everyone right now. I had to know that I needed to go to the ACRIS maps and the tax appraiser and the Oasis maps and find out what was going on with this property. There was a lot of legwork and research that I did. Now it's kind of done for everyone. You can type in your address on 596 Acres, you can find out where that nearest lot is, you can see who's already organizing around it or who is interested in organizing around it, and you can actually do that. They'll tell you which city agency owns the property. Once you get organized, you can ask for a key. You get that key and you do what you like. So I encourage everyone, keep on coming back to Smiling Hogshead Ranch. We'd love it when you come. Wherever you live, do it there too. That's what's important. A lot of people here have said, this is great, I wish there was more of this happening. I wish there was too. I'm holding down this spot, you guys go hold down your own spot. And we'll all come together, we'll converge different times. there's a lot of different amazing things happening in this city. I'm not going to go on and on about everything. Let's get on with this tour. So right here we have a 3-bin system. We encourage people to come dump their scraps in, fill it up with browns on top, and then we have monthly work days with the community to turn those bins and produce finished compost out the other end. That compost, we don't keep our compost in the same place twice ever. Microorganisms are very beneficial to the soil. They can break down things, toxins inside the soil. They can lock up heavy metals so they're not bioavailable to the plants. So we've had compost 3-bin systems on 5 or 6 of these beds. We've had them over there on the railroad tracks. Here is our current spot. We've had them back here. So we keep on moving our compost around so we can myco-remediate our soil. Micro-remediation. We're going to talk about myco-remediation later. That's using fungi. We build raised beds here. If you see these PVC pipes, they're actually all really huge sub-irrigated planters. So there's a layer of waterproofing on the bottom that creates a bathtub with gravel that has divots in it. We put landscape fabric on top of that. When we put the soil on it, the soil goes down into those divots and comes in contact with the water, and the water is naturally brought up through the soil to the roots. So this helps eliminate having to water on top, which can be loss of water because of the wind and evaporation, and it can cause bad fungal stuff with the plants if you leave water on the plants' leaves and stems overnight. So this is really helping our plants to thrive, and comes from the bottom up. So right at that table, they're making bokashi bran. They're actually using cocoa husks, and they're inoculating it with effective microorganisms. We're going to use those effective microorganisms to compost our food scraps through fermentation. It's a lot different than the 3-bin systems. 3-bin systems use microorganisms that are in a aerobic environment, which means it has oxygen. It heats up really hot, becomes thermophilic, and it breaks down the organic scraps, and it turns it into that compost. We have to turn it whenever it starts to cool down so we can get more oxygen into it. What they're doing is they're putting effective microorganisms in. That's 3 different types of microorganisms. I can't do them verbatim right now, but Shig can tell everybody about it. He's been telling everybody all about it all day, and he's doing a whole year or decade or so of educating the city. So if you want to find anything out about microorganisms, find out where Shig's teaching, go check it out. He teaches class all the time throughout the city. Those can be used to ferment kitchen scraps. We can also make mud balls with them. Mud balls are when we take a little bit of the toxic soil from the bottom of a polluted waterway, and that has all the stuff that's polluting that waterway. We're a couple blocks away from the Newtown Creek, which is the natural border between Brooklyn and Queens. That is a Superfund site, which means that the federal government has designated as a place that has known harmful effects on humans that come in contact with it. So the bottom of the creek is actually the Superfund site. That black mayonnaise, there's a bunch of nasty stuff down there. It's been a working waterfront for a long time. There's all sorts of industrial processes that have been going on there, and the way people used to get rid of their trash is to just dump it into the water. So all that stuff is accumulated over time, and on top of this, to compound the problem, whenever it rains in New York City, we have this combined sewage system that overflows. So all of our sewage and all of our manufacturing and everything from the buildings combines with all the rainwater coming from the tops of the buildings and the streets, overfloods the system. The stormwater treatment plants cannot handle all of that, and it just overflows into our bodies of water. So the only fresh water actually going into the Newtown Creek and the Gowanus Canal is actually combined sewage overflow. So it's a serious problem. The EPA is working through steps to try and figure out how to clean it up. They're taking forever because it's a big governmental organization. We decided to start mudballing the creek, and we had a beneficial mud ball a couple months ago, last month, which was a lot of fun. We made mud balls with the beneficial microorganisms, a little bit of mud, and we let them dry, and then we throw them into the creek. They sink to the bottom. Those microorganisms colonize or start families down there, eating away at all these toxins, locking them up and sequestering them. And This has been shown to be effective in different places around the world. We're still trying to figure out, wait a minute, it doesn't involve a machine? It can't work. Okay, so the Army Corps of Engineers is in charge of cleaning up the waterfront. But we can take this into our own hands. We've been seed balling the coastline, getting more plants growing. We've been composting in the area. I've been taking mulch from here with mycelium growing and putting it all over the watershed, otherwise known as the brownfield remediation zones. And we're cleaning up this spot by ourselves. We don't need the government to pay us to do it. We don't need them to validate what we're doing. We just do because we know it's the right thing to do. I don't need a whole lot of science saying that it's good or bad. The science is already there. There's people that are going to deny. There's people saying that climate change isn't happening. Then they have some scientist somewhere that says that it's not happening. We don't have to listen to that. We can just move forward with what we know is right and put all that stuff behind us. The people that want to listen to that, they can have that crutch and they can do whatever they want to. It's sad, but it doesn't have to affect our actions. So we're going to move forward into the future proudly with solid footing. So when mycelium starts to grow in the mulch, it forms these thread-like structures that hold it all together. So this mycelium, this mulch would not usually stick together like this. These little threads are single cell structures that fold back upon themselves to combine and make thick structures and hold things together. I'm enamored with mycelium. I wish I could tell you everything about it. The fact is, the human species is too puny of a mind to understand how it works. It has something like 27 different ways to reproduce, as opposed to our one, and we don't quite understand it. But we do know that it basically is the information network of nature. It not only moves information, it moves chemicals and nutrients from one plant to another. It affixes itself to the root systems of trees and shrubs, and it can move photochemicals to really bright parts of the outer edge of a forest into the dense areas of the heavily covered forest and move those phytonutrients around. And in those dense areas where there's lots of leaf matter and a thick, rich humus layer, it has lots of nutrients in the soil that can be moved further out towards the edges where the grasslands are coming in that intersection with the forest. And it really is just the way that information and nutrients are brought together in natural systems. The largest organism on Earth is a fungi, and we're getting fungi growing here at Smiling Hogshead Ranch. The idea is to get it growing all over the place. We've got it going on these railroad ties right now. We're trying to train it to eat some of the nasty stuff in this creosote, which is probably the most toxic thing on our site. So the idea is to take this, grow it, be able to take some of it and move it to other parts of the Newtown Creek. And then once it starts growing there, move it to other parts of Queens and just keep on pushing out verdant fingers throughout the city. Where the creek used to be, just moving out, getting mycelium running. So this combined with our seed balls and our mud balls, and we're greening everything.
So did you inoculate the soil or just start to grow
mycelium was here, mushrooms were here. I'm specifically focusing on oyster mushrooms because they've been shown in labs to be very effective at breaking down a vast array of different compounds, from volatile organic compounds to persistent environmental toxins, lots of different things the oyster mushrooms have been shown to be able to break down. It's really expensive to get a test that shows what compounds are in your soil. Tests to show what heavy metals, they're like 35 bucks at just about any agriculture extension college. So really easy to find out what kind of heavy metals are in your soil. If you want to find out toxins like PAHs, PCBs, DDT, stuff like that, that's persistent in the soil, you're going to have to spend between $800 to $1,600 per test, and you're going to have to take soil. You're going to have to make a matrix of your land, a grid, and take randomized soil tests. And this place would probably need like over 100 tests to really figure out what's everywhere. So it's a really expensive proposition. I don't have the money for that, so I'm just gonna, this is kind of an informal study. We don't have any baseline information to scientifically prove that we are cleaning or are not cleaning anything up. But like I said, that's not gonna stop us. We're gonna keep on moving forward and create solid foundations for the people that come behind us. So this was a big undertaking. We had a 3-day weekend. We had 50 people come out. We removed over 100 contractor bags full of trash. It was really intense. There's still stuff back there that needs to be done. I really hope to build a stage back here at some point. This area right here would be a nice place to kind of level up, build a platform, and have like an amphitheater type situation. I'm really hopeful to get people who aren't as interested in urban gardening or getting their hands dirty to come here anyway and bring what they bring. I was having a conversation with the sound engineer last night at the concert, and he was like, yeah, this permaculture stuff, it's cool, but like, I don't really like gardening. And I was like, that's fine. Permaculture is not gardening. It can be. A lot of people misinterpret it as that. But permaculture is a set of design principles that can be applied to any aspect of human life. And there's lots of things that we do in this world that require us to think beyond the garden. Now the reason why it's kind of understood as gardening is because this is what everybody does. Everyone eats, right? If you don't eat, please raise your hand. All right, point taken, right? So we all eat. This is something that kind of brings us all together. If you can't get down with growing food, then you might want to reconsider like how you get your nourishment. But I do realize we live in this crazy city. Not everybody can make the time to do that. People move to New York City to make a name for themselves, to get a project done, to do something. This happens to be the thing that I want to do with my time in New York City, and not everyone is me, and I fully recognize and respect that. And what I want to make happen is for people to activate this space doing what they do. If you're in a theater troupe, if you're in artist community that does multimedia, if you sing, if you play music, I want this space to be able to have you, to host you, and for you to be able to come and gather that crowd of loving, nourishing people. And I really want to bring that spirit to this place. It does not have to be about food all the time. There's lots of different ways to participate in this movement. So building a stage here, building a fixers collective over there, building mad crazy urban agriculture schemes out over there, which we're not really going to get into. It's all interconnected. And this is one place of many. This is a collectively run urban farm. There's collective houses. There's income sharing communities in New York City. There's a web of people doing amazing shit. And we all got to kind of get together. And then we got to reach out even further on that meta level and look at the whole region. And then look at the whole country. And this is what we're all building towards right now. And it's a really beautiful movement. Again, I want to reiterate my thankfulness for all of you being here. It's such a pleasure to be able to like talk to so many receptive, beautiful faces and minds. And I really hope that you all come back at some point, whether it be next week or on the 23rd when we're going to build a biodynamic compost windrow with food scraps. We're going to get 4 tons of kitchen scraps from Grow NYC's green markets. And we're gonna put our biodynamic preps in. We're gonna talk about why it matters, not only because we're building soil, but because we're harmonizing with nature. And that we're gonna be wrapping up the season a little bit. It is fall, this is a garden, but there's lots of things that continue to happen. We'll be right back at it next spring. I invite all of you back anytime. One of the things that's interesting about this garden in particular is that it didn't have a fence when we came here. And whenever we made it nice, the property owner said we had to put a fence up. And I said, that doesn't make any sense. It sucked before and there was no fence and people came. Now it's great and people want to come. Why would we put up a fence? So I talked them down from that. One of the major accomplishments, we're still trying to renegotiate our agreement each year with the property owner. One of the things we hope to get included next year is to have the ability to sell some of the produce that we are growing here so we can actually make this a model that we can work at. But everyone is welcome. There's no fence for a reason. Please come enjoy this space. I love having beautiful people like you here, whether I'm here or not. I love having this space activated. I made this place with all the other people that made this place for everyone, not just for us. So thank you very much for coming. Let's go grab some grub. We're gonna go down to Coney Island. We're gonna still enjoy the rest of this day. It's gonna be great.
Woo! Thank you, Gill.
Yeah.
Gill.
Yeah, so there you have it. Very interesting stuff that's going on out there. It's very grassroots and hands-on, people doing things for themselves and without the help of anyone, you're just going out and doing it. And that's what we all need to do, is just go out there and do it. So this is an amazing example of what is possible, and these are just small things, and these things are happening all over. It's just scattered. So go out there and find some interesting things like this that's going on around you, or if there isn't any, start some yourself. I hope you enjoyed this video, and thanks for watching.